What is up, everyone? What is up, everyone? Welcome to the football chat box. A lot has happened. A lot has happened in FPL in the last 48 hours. We've got a lot of news. Andy, welcome. Freddy, welcome. Manish, welcome. How are you all doing? And he says, hi, all right. Main thing, a defender could lose 2-0, not score, not assist, but still come away with 3 points. Yes, they could. Could they? Yes. They could still come away with 3 points. Yes. Yeah, it was FPL picks who have to do last minute defending Newcastle Villa. All yep, we'll have a look into all of that. Bottom teams, yes. What points did relegated midfielders get with the new rules and defenders? I can imagine burn Newcastle. We'll have a look into all of that actually. And if Gerard was still Freddy says, hi Ryan, Freddy, hope you're doing well. When will price come out and launch? Prices, I don't know. Maybe when we're live right now, we might even get a tweet about prices or something or another rule change. You never know. We'll have a look and see. Obviously, when we're live, if anything comes out, let me know as well. But I think the game will probably launch. I'm thinking next week. Next week, if it launches, you have 1 month before the season starts. And that's roughly when they actually launch as well. Generally, they give you like a month before the season starts, anyways. So I'm thinking early next week, sometime next week is where we're kind of seeing. Nick, how are you doing? Have you seen what I sent through Discord? Yes, I did. I wanted to put it out as well on the Discord, but then I was wondering how am I going to word it, because it's basically a quality of life change to assist. But we'll go through it on this stream as well. Are we getting 2 times chips? Yes, we are. We're getting double the number of chips. So let's actually go through all of the news. Starting with the most recent news that we actually saw, which was the assists are now changing. So assist as in like fantasy assist, how you considered a fantasy assist. Previously, a fantasy assist had to be basically going to an intended target. So, for example, Bernardo last season, when he scored, the assist for Marmush was not given. I could probably show you the video, but I might get copyright strikes, so let's probably not do that. Same thing with like Semenyo. And then, if you guys remember the long kick that Pickford did, where basically they won a penalty. Beto basically fell in the box, but he didn't touch the ball, so Pickford gets the assist for that, but wasn't given last season. So basically, now they're just simplifying assist. So I would say now it's one of the main things that are changing are intended destination. So basically, before it, like if a player crossed it in, it had to go to that specific goal scorer, then only they would have given you an assist. Now, if there's like a deflection even from a defensive player and it goes to an attacker, and if the attacker scores, you get the assist, which is basically what happened for Bernardo Silva's goal. Can I do frame by frame and not get copyrighted over here? Oh, maybe I might be able to. You guys can see something like this, where basically deflection happens, and then Bernardo Silva scores. Let's hope I don't get copyrighted, but anyways, Bernardo Silva scores, and then basically the assist is not given in that situation because of the one deflection. Now, in the current game, with the changes to the rules, even if it deflected once, as long as it was the next attacker that scored it, you get the assist. Next one, the other thing that changed, what if goal scorer receives the ball outside the box? If the goal scorer receives the balls outside the box, the old rule remains in force. A judgment would be made about whether they were intended target of the pass. For example, Ugarte's goal at Everton last season would not be awarded a fantasy assist because he received the ball outside the box and wasn't the intended target of Bruno Fernandes' free kick. Now that is, I think, if this one makes a bit more sense because it was never really going to be. So Bruno Fernandes crosses it in, defender basically heads it back out, player outside the box receives it and scores. Bruno Fernandes was never really planning to pass it to Ugarte or even pass it to a player outside the box per se. It just happened to be cleared, and a player outside the box received it. That makes sense. There's no reason to have a fantasy assist for that specific situation. What if there are 2 defensive touches? If a pass takes 2 or more defensive touches before receiving the goal scorer, there will be no fantasy assist, which is basically what I just now told you with the Bernardo Silva one. One deflection goes to your attacker, attacker scores, get your assist. Doesn't have to be intended direction anymore. Defensive errors. Until now, if a goal was scored thanks to an unforced defensive error, no fantasy assist was awarded. But in 25-26, the only defensive error that will disqualify a fantasy assist is if the defending player is attempting a pass. Again, there can only be a maximum of 1 defensive touch for the assist to be awarded. Basically, it was Semenyo's goal they used as an example. So Robinson basically had like the... Was it Robinson had the defensive error? I want to see who made the tackle again. So last season, Semenyo scored for Bournemouth against Fulham. Alex Scott did not get an assist because his pass reached Semenyo following an unforced defensive error. Yes. So Robinson basically messed up the clearance, as you can see from here. He didn't clear it properly from Alex Scott's pass. Semenyo got the ball, scored. So now in this specific situation, Alex Scott was intending to pass it to Semenyo, but it's just that Robinson didn't clear it. You could treat it as like a deflection as well, something similar. It's basically, but here it's a defensive error. So again, just one defensive error, attacker gets the ball, scores. So we're kind of getting this now given. Same thing with handball as well. Forced handball. If players can earn a fantasy assist if they win a penalty or free kick by making the last attacking action or touch prior to a handball being awarded. So that also makes sense. So like, does this? I guess again we'll look into this one. No, this is Endai's. Okay, was this the handball? Yes. So this is where Pickford basically long kicked it. Brighton defender puts a handball. Pickford didn't get the assist last time, but now because the penalty was scored, Pickford in this case would get the assist. That makes sense. Same thing would happen with free kicks as well, where if a free kick is scored directly, and the last attacking player that probably had the ball would get the assist, depending on the situation. So hopefully this makes sense for you guys, this fantasy assist. And hopefully I've gone through it decently and explained it decently. And hopefully I don't get copyrighted for this. But anyways, 1 bonus, 2 points for tackles, 2 for defensive play. An important thing to add is that it only applies for a single deflection. Yes, exactly. One deflection. Basically, think of it as just one deflection. You cannot have multiple deflections and then expect your attacking player to get an assist. That's not going to happen. That's just a scuffle in the box and you're not going to get it. So many times last season because of some one in our team that we did not get. Yes, so that's now you get, if it's just one deflection, you get it. Ryan, it's Kunya Day, says FPL MFZ. Yes, Manchester United will be playing Leeds. I will see if I can find a stream for the game if possible. You are not paying for the... No, I'm not paying MUTV. I'm not paying a cent to Manchester United. they can get jerseys maybe, but I'm not paying MUTV. No, thank you. I'll find a stream from somewhere. That's better. All the rules are better, but more complicated for them to work out. More point will be. I don't think. I think it simplifies it for us, at least in terms of understanding. When is the game launching? Welcome back, bro, says Shepard. Shepard, welcome as well. When is the game launching? I think probably next week. We should expect it to launch. So this is assist. Now the next change, double chips. Double chips. I'll slip you the link on X later. Don't worry. I've got a site. I've got a site which usually I get European games from which I watch. So I think they should have as well. So I should be fine. Okay, double chips. Now, oh, by the way, since MFZ is also here, we are going to be looking to create an X group chat. Actually, I can create the X group chat right now. And if you want to be added to the X group chat, just message me on X and I will basically add you to that group chat. I'll probably create a tweet as well. I should probably create the tweet right now, actually. And to be added. Actually, I will create a tweet right now. This was an idea suggested by MLZ, so I should give him credit for that. It will also help me potentially streamline my what is it? Deadline streams in terms of team sharing and whatnot. For those who are on the Discord, you can share it on Discord as well, which is not a problem. Let me try and find the tweet so I can put it up. Right. All right. All right. I'm gonna put the link in the chat here, and if you want to be added, just reply onto that tweet, and I'll add you into the group chat. At this rate, 30 minutes before the first game of the season. Cisco Watkins is fine, but just God no Jackson. Yeah, let's hope not. I wonder whose idea. I gave you credit. Bench boost in game week 1 could work. Yes, Roku, welcome as well. How are you doing? Now, double chips. Basically, similar to the wild card, where we get a wild card for the first half of the season until the end of the year, basically until the end of 2025, and then we get a wild card from the start of 2026 till the end of the season. Now we're going to be getting the same thing with bench boost, free hit, and triple captain. That 4-figure subscribers looks good. Would not have been possible without you guys. So shout out to all of you legends. So now we get double the chips of bench boost, free hit, and triple captain. So you have the bench boost, free hit, and triple captain from the start of this season until the end of the year. So make sure you play it before, basically once game week 19 kicks off. That's your last chance to play it. And then game week 20 to 38 is basically when you get a new set of chips, which is generally where we play our bench boost, free hit, and triple captain. Most of the time we play the bench boost, free hit, and triple captain in the latter half of the season. So nothing really changes there, but you're getting now 3 extra chips to play at the first half of the season, which means you now have different opportunities and different chip strategies of when you can play it. Like Roku mentioned, bench boost in game week 1 now becomes a possibility as well for anyone who's thinking of doing it. Bench boost in probably game week 6 or 7 as well, when you wildcard could be a play, or even like game week 5. I don't know, I have to look at the fixtures to see how they look like. Those could also be possibilities, because you could probably bench boost and then wildcard into a fresh team, and then you don't have to carry like too much money on your bench as well. That's a possibility. So if we were to look at the fixtures, obviously bench boost game week 1, the reason people go bench boost game week 1 is because you kind of have a decent idea of what teams starting lineups would be like. The other option is game week 7 or 6, whenever you wildcard could be. But the problem is, I'm looking at that Arsenal play Newcastle, not the easiest of fixture. Aston Villa play Fulham, not too bad for if you want to have Villa players. But Aston Villa playing Burnley in game week 7 could be very tempting, with Arsenal playing West Ham. You also have Chelsea playing Liverpool in that time, so maybe you might not go too many players. United are playing Sunderland, could be very interesting. City are playing Brentford, a good game for City for like a game week 7 bench boost when you're wildcarding. If you wildcard game week 7, if you wildcard like game week 6 and bench boost game week 7 immediately, that's also a possibility. So there are a few places where you can play your bench boost. Triple captain. Last season, I played my triple captain on a single game week Salah, which actually not too bad. He got about 10 points. So this week also, this season, you can find a good fixture, single game week fixture, and triple captain someone. And last season, I believe, who was it? I think one of our mini league leaders, I think was leading for quite a. I don't know if it's the mini league winner, but they played their chips early on, and then they started strong because of that. You could also try that suggestion of like playing your chips, all 4 of your chips immediately, like at the start, and then having a good start, and then you continue after that. So you like play your opening set of chips, get rid of them and then wildcard into a good squad and then continue that till like game week 19. So you have like a really good start. But I don't know. I can't really say if that would be the optimal play because you might not necessarily get the best single game week results as well potentially. So yeah, but the thing is, this brings more strategies as well, which is good. I like it. I don't mind this change at all. It also seems like this would mean potentially that the assistant manager chip has gone. Say goodbye to the assistant manager chip. I'm at least happy that I tried for table bonus in all 3 times. It's only debut of the chip. It's most likely the system manager chip is no more. But it hasn't been fully confirmed yet that it's no more. It's just we are assuming it's no more. Probably going to be no longer there. But it hasn't been confirmed per se. But yeah, again, assistant manager chip is probably not going to be there at the moment. Bench boost can work game week 1, then wildcard. That's possible. Bench boost in game week 1 or game week 2 is where I'm currently at. That's also not too bad. I don't know why everyone is going for bench boost in game week 1. It's a bit dumb, surely. I think the reason is because you kind of know the starting lineups. That's the only reason why people are going for like that bench boost in game week 1. Because you probably know the starting lineups. I reckon we can see more than 45 minutes for Cunha. Probably, hopefully. These chips help the casual players. To an extent, if they play it in the wrong weeks, then it's a problem. If they play it in the wrong weeks, but it could also help the engaged managers potentially a bit. But it's hard to tell at the moment. But more chips means a higher number of points for everyone, which also means a higher chance of variance. Extra chips includes higher variance, slightly more luck is involved in the game, I will say. You're introducing a bit more a percentage of luck is increased. So your percentage of luck is increased because of the extra chips. That I will mention. So there's a bit more variance for the upcoming season because of the extra chips. Gonna share Salah heat map next season. Let me know when you do, and I'll triple captain Salah that game, the next game. Triple captain on Haaland in game week 6. Haaland in game week 6, triple captain. Who is he playing? Burnley. Ooh, you could do. Some people might even triple captain Salah home and away against Manchester United. Salah game week 4, Burnley. Never know. There are a few options depending on how you approach it. Table bonus gone? Yeah, most likely. Leon Cunha start. Man United starting lineup has been given by MFZ. Interesting. Yeah, fair enough. Not too much of it. Not too surprising. You can base the chip and still be okay. You could. But if you play the chip properly, you could have a really good start as well. So yeah. Chips are another change. Now, the most interesting... again, this is another thing. For anyone there are 2 new leagues coming. For anyone who finished in the top 1% and top 10% last season, you will be included in a league. So I'm assuming people who finished in the top 1% are not going to be finishing in the top 10%, is what I'm assuming. I don't think you'll be added into the top 10% league. If you do get added, I don't know why they're creating 2 leagues. They might as well just have had one. But anyways, I'm hoping that they've like top 1% are not added into the top 10% as well. Unfortunately, I am in the top 10%. But if you finished, I think the ranking was like 112, top 112k or 110k was top 1%. Top 10% was anyone in 1.1 million rank. Now, the easy way for you to find this out is this is a site called Premier Fantasy Tools. You go to their live FPL rank, enter your code. I was top 4.95% based on my rank. You can find your percentage as well. Just enter your FPL ID from last season and they'll calculate it and they'll show it. So I will be in the top 10% league. Which is I think is also a nice, interesting thing. It kind of gives people something to focus on. So now you kind of remove that the hoodoo of like the top 10k. Everyone tries to get top 10k, top 10k, top 10k. Now that might slowly fade away, and like this top 1% league will be a big thing that everyone will try to get into the top 1% league. So something like that. So this is something else well to consider. I think it's a nice quality of life change. Interesting option. So we'll see how it goes. So yeah, so if you want to know where you were in terms of your rank, 1.1 million was like top 10%, I think. 110k was like 110 or 112k was like top 1%. So yeah, I know a few managers in here who are on the chat are going to be in that top 1% as well. So looking forward to seeing how you guys do. Now, I mentioned chips. All right, defensive contributions. Now, this season, you're going to be getting 2 extra points for defensive contributions. Basically, defenders, where I think I had a. Where was that picture? Did I put it on Instagram, didn't I? And I didn't put it on here. Let me bring my Instagram post up. Aha. Give us this one. How do I think if I paste it here, would it appear? How small is this for you guys? Not too bad. It's a bit small, I would say. All right. So defensive actions for defensive contributions, basically. Aha. Oh no, this is not good. Can I make this bigger? I'll try and find actually a picture of it. Dead. Might be a bit easier. And let me try and find a picture of this thing. Aha, here we go. This should actually help instead. Here we go. Let's add this here. All right. This is a bit more easy to understand. Now, basically, if you do blocks, tackles, interceptions, and clearances for defenders, if they've done a total of 10 of those, they will get 2 points for defenders. For midfielders, they need to do a total of 12, but they also can do recoveries as part of that combination and get 2 points. It's maxed out at 2 points. Basically, you can't get anything more than 2. So even if a player did 20 defensive contributions, they're still going to get 2 points. So it's basically capped in the amount of points that you can earn, and this is basically how you earn it, which I think is a pretty good change because it introduces a bit more players to the player pool in terms of choice. Now, instead of you always going for fullbacks as part of your defensive players, now you could probably pick center backs as well, which could involve like a few center backs become really good by this. CDMs could potentially be pretty good. Even attacking players who generally do a lot of defensive work could also become pretty good in this, like a Bruno Fernandes potentially could be a pretty good option because another 2 extra points for him from this. Generally, like think of it as like players who are good on the bonus generally could be good on this as well potentially. So this is an interesting change. They will just up the prices of center backs, making this all null and void. Yeah. So if they do that, then it's kind of pointless. So we got to hope that they price the center backs, especially from the teams that are not going to have the ball that much. Any team that's not going to have the ball that much means they're probably going to be doing a lot of defensive actions. If they price like 4.5, could become really nice options. Last season, there were players who could have got this amount of points. So like Moise Caicedo could have got like 42 points extra from what he had. These are like some CDMs basically. It is a guy, Christian Nogard, Lewis Cook, Gravenberg. They could have got a bit more extra points from defensive contributions for the midfielders. For defenders, Milenkovic would have been an absolute beast even further. because he would have got another further 26 points. Murillo a further 38 points. Van Dijk a further 22 points. Guardiola, because he was playing centre back, another 10 points added on top of that. Munoz, another 14 points. Collins, 32 points. So as you can see, a lot of the centre halves benefit a lot. Like Tarkowski, look at it, another 44 points for Tarkowski because of defensive contribution. So teams who have a lot of defending to do, generally get benefit a lot from this. Or like the likes of Guardiola, or even Trent, for example, in this specific situation, it's probably more in like the big games where the ball, like the percentage of your possession is kind of split. Then chances like Van Dijk and Guardiola, probably they would have accumulated some of this in like some of the bigger games potentially. Now, I kind of wanted to see if this is actually achievable in most cases. I don't think this is achievable in every game per se. So this is tackles per 90 in the Premier League last season. So for example, Casemiro did about 4.98 tackles per 90. Tyler Adams 4.03. Ugarte 3.87. Idrissa Gueye 3.75. Where are we? NDD about 3.27. McAllister 3.25. Not too bad actually. Mazraoui 3.7. Who are like Moise Caicedo? He did about 3 tackles per 90. So if he did here in this specific situation, he's done 3 tackles per 90. He needs to find another 9 contributions from either blocks, interceptions, clearances, and recoveries. So if we were to go for clearances, Huijsen obviously not here, but you see the number of centre halves like Murillo. He was pretty good for the bonus points as well. Murillo 7.73 clearances per 90. That's pretty high. He basically has to do like 3 other things, or even 2 other things in generally, and he'll get 2 extra points in most cases. Tarkowski, Branthwaite, Ethan Pinnock. So most of the players on here are players who generally didn't have the ball as much. So you're going to be expecting, I think you're going to mainly be expecting this from the teams below, like the generally not the top 6 teams. Generally you end up having like players from like non-top, like you have top 6 fullbacks mostly. Most of the time people will go for like double Arsenal defense, Liverpool defense, people would go for City defense. This now basically brings some of the other lower teams as options because they generally won't have the ball much. That means more defensive actions, extra chances of points. Everton, like Andy says, could become a good option if they keep clean sheets, plus they generally don't have the ball much. If David Moyes can get Everton keeping clean sheets, it could be really good options. Sorry, tackles, not tackles 1. Mark Sutton's confirmed above average last night. Okay, there you go. So it's only tackles then. So it doesn't even have to be tackles 1. This is clearances. So it's just what you call basically, if you clear the ball, that's fine. I think FP Ref has like a table from last season. I've tried to toggle this by per 90. Keep in mind, because of like some of these players haven't played really 90 minutes per se, so their numbers are high. You kind of have to look at like players like say Casemiro, 90s. He's had about 16 minutes of like 16 games of like 90 minutes. So you need to look at like players like that with like good number of minutes behind them. So for example, here Casemiro, he had 5 tackles per 90. He also had blocks part of it. Yes, he had about 2.35 blocks. So that's about 8, let's say 8 defensive, 7.35 defensive contributions. He had 0.84 interceptions. So now you're at, let's rough it up to 8 defensive contributions right now. So he needs another what? He needs another 4 more defensive contributions, right? Tackles, this is tackles plus interceptions. So that's about 5.84. And he has 3 clearances as well per 90. So as you can see, he'll hit, generally Casemiro would hit those 2 points per 90. Who else can we look at? Give me a name and we'll try and bring up like a name. Any CDMs? Munoz. Here we go, Munoz. So Munoz had 3.43 tackles per 90. So he needs to hit 10, right? He has 3.43 tackles. This is 4.65 in tackles plus interceptions. So you're looking at, I don't know if these tackles, I guess I'm going to count this as interceptions instead. So you'll have like 4 plus 3. 4 plus basically 4 here as well because of the 6, 5, and 4, 3. He has about 8. He has about 3 clearances per 90. So he's already hit like 11. So Munoz as well, generally, on top of his attacking contributions, could also get another further 2 points in most games. And you're looking at a monster haul in terms of scores. Who else could we look at? Let me sort this by tackles plus interceptions. Any names? Give me names, and I'll bring them up. I'll try and find them if I can. What was the midfield tackle points? Anyone getting 12 tackles? Would Bowen pick up tackle points? Bowen, let's have a look. So Jared Bowen, not really. So this is Jared Bowen's data. He basically does like 1.24 tackles per game. And he has about, is this clearances table? I wish the table, like the header, scrolled down. No, this is tackles plus interception. This is clearances. Here we go. So Jared Bowen won't get those 2 points because he doesn't do enough. As you can see, the numbers are pretty low. So he wouldn't get something like that. Like the chances of Jared Bowen getting like those is pretty low because he doesn't do enough defensive work. Casemiro looks up for it this season. Yeah, Casemiro could potentially be up for shredded as well. Yep, hit in the gym. Hall, Dan Burn. Let's look at Control F. Lewis Hall. So Lewis Hall last season, about 3.3 tackles plus interceptions, 3 clearances. That's about 6 over there. 2.39 here it says for tackles. Now I don't know if this tackles plus interception includes the tackles as well. I'm assuming it does. So it's about 6 here together. What is this stat? Dribbles, nope. Dribbles tackled, nope. We don't really need. Blocks. Okay, so we need to look at blocks. Oh, here we go. Interceptions are here. I can look at this. Clearances, tackles plus interception, and blocks. Okay, that helps me. Now I know what to look at. Where's Lewis Hall? Aha, here we go. So Lewis Hall, in terms of tackles plus interceptions, 3 tackles plus interceptions, 3 clearances. That's about 6, and he does about 0.74 blocks. So he's at about 7. So Lewis Hall might not hit it every game, but there are possibilities that some games he might be able to hit it. And then you get lucky because of that. So he might not hit it always. But in that, because he plays for a team that would hold the ball more as well, right? That's the problem. Dan Burn on the other hand. Here we go. Dan Burn, he does. How does Dan Burn have less tackles plus interceptions per 90? Damn, Dan Burn doesn't tackle that much. He does do a lot of clearances though. 5.3 clearances, 1.78. So you're looking at about 7 there. And in terms of blocks, is like 0.7. So he also kind of needs to do a bit more. Konsa is just below him. Konsa has 3.5 clearances and 1.78 tackles plus interceptions. So Konsa also kind of needs to do a bit more to try and get the +2. So even if they're center halves, the players who played for the top teams, who generally have the ball more, are not going to get you those 2 points as easily as possible. You might sometimes get them, but they're generally not going to happen from the data based off this. Everton mids. Yeah, Everton could probably. Rodri 2 seasons ago. Ooh, I will try and find Rodri's data if I can. What about Jesus? Who is that? Gabriel Jesus? Or who are we looking at? Which striker is on top for defensive contributions? Oh, how am I going to sort? If only I could sort based on like, okay, let's go forwards. Who is this? Robinson. No, I need to look at like decent data. Element Endai is here. Wait, 2.7. Strikers aren't going to get much from the looks of it. Anyone with decent data? Malin as well, not much. No, I'll probably tell you, don't expect much from strikers from the looks of it. They don't achieve enough for you to even get it. So strikers are very rarely going to get this, I think. Solly March. Nope. So don't expect much from strikers. Rico Lewis. Ooh. Rico Lewis. No, City hold too much of the ball, so he doesn't get enough. You get a 2-2. That's 4. 1.3 for blocks. That's like 5. At best 6 maybe. Yeah, Rico Lewis also not much. Gabriel Jesus. Okay, let's look at Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus. No, not enough. 2.06 tackles plus interceptions. 1.18 clearances. Nowhere near 12. Not even like 5. So, yeah, no chance. Ola Aina and Williams. So, Ola Aina. He does 2.64 tackles plus interceptions, 3.45 for clearances. So we're looking at what, 6, almost 6 here, and then he does 1 extra for blocks, so it's about 7. What else was included in that? Blocks, tackles, interceptions, clearances. So he's at about 7 roughly. So you have 1.02. This is tackles plus interceptions, 2.64. 3.45 for clearances. So he gets to 7. Occasionally, he might be able to hit 10 in some games because this is per 90, it's kind of averaged out. But he potentially could. So anyone who's like 7 or 8 in the average could occasionally hit the 2 points. Onana for Villa, he was injured a lot, but when he played, what did he get? Let's have a look. This is Amadou Onana for Aston Villa. So Amadou Onana, 4.5 for tackles plus interceptions, 2.28 for clearances. So we are already at what, 6.75, and 0.89 for blocks. So let's say he had 7 plus 8, so like about 8 points. 8 points. He needs to do a bit more, but sometimes 8 points, I would say, not too bad. He could occasionally get that as well, potentially. Giant killers get points. Villa, giant killers. Yeah, so like in the big games, Amadou Onana could potentially get it. I'm curious what they are gonna do with CDMs and center back prices with the defensive interceptions things. I wonder if a lot of CDMs will be between 5 to 6 million range. No, I think they need to price them in an enticing spot because this itself shows you that they don't always get it. So if they go and price them too much, then it's probably not worth the risk. Like the value isn't there because it, like, from this data, like all the like FPL players that we would think of are probably not going to get it, right? Because the attackers are not going to do enough for you to even think of getting that number. The CDMs, some of them look like they could be really good spots, like good options. Some of them maybe not as much. So they need to be priced at a very like if they are under 6 million, it could be tempting. McGinn, honestly, because it shows whatever play. Okay, McGinn, let's see. John McGinn. No, McGinn for some reason doesn't have enough data here. No chance. Zabani, let's have a look. Now I'm hoping FP rep surely FP rep is not screwing me with the data that they're showing me. FP ref. Okay, Zabani does a lot of clearances, less tackles. So he does 2.7 tackles plus interception, 5.28. So you're looking at what, 7, 8 maybe here, plus about 1 block per game. That's about 9. Zabani is very close to potentially hitting this. He could actually hit it per game. The extra 2 points. Who is bench boosting game week 1? I don't think I will be doing it, but yeah, it is a possibility. I haven't looked into it to be considering it just yet. Kids that get 12 consistently or score against weak teams and a ball against big teams. Like, yeah, so you need like, there are some players that do quite a lot of defensive stuff, like defensive data that they'll become options. Like, let's go to, who was it? Milenkovic, right? Milenkovic, here you go. 5.65 clearances, 2.1 in terms of tackles and interceptions. So you're at like 5.76, 7.7. Then he does the block as well, 1.1. So you're looking at like 8.7. So some games he could actually hit it, to be honest. I think if you can get players who have like in defensive players who per 90 average around 8, then some games you might hit those 2 points. You missed my previous message. Which was it? Saliba or Gabriel? Who got more? Let's have a look. Saliba 2.46, 3.52, and 0.74. So we're looking at about like 4, 5, 6, 7 roughly from Saliba. Yeah. 2.46, 3.52. That's like what, like 4, 5, 6. You're looking at about, yeah, 6, and then 0.74. Just like slightly under 7, but let's just say 7. Just round it up to 7. Saliba is around 7. Gabriel has 3.54, 1.56. So that's like 5. And then he does 1.6 in terms of the blocks. So that's what, 6.6. He is very similar to Saliba. So they're both very similar in that situation. Which probably in that specific situation, you might potentially edge it towards Gabriel because of he's a slightly higher set piece threat. So you might still lean towards Gabriel more than Saliba. I think Everton and Forest centre backs will be the best. Yeah, from the looks of it. How does it change the top points getting last season all in with new points? So this is what they kind of showed. Like with the newer points adjusted, these are what like the defenders would have changed to in terms of points. So like you can see, it's mostly the centre halves. Like Milenkovic just mentioned. Murillo, did I look at Murillo? I need to have a look again. Lacroix from Crystal Palace is not too bad. That number of like 34 points. That's pretty good, I would say. If he comes in at like 4.5 again, would be a decent option. See, Munoz, I showed you guys, we saw Munoz's data, plus 14 extra. Sometimes he could hit it. Tarkowski is the main benefactor from here, 44 points. If we were to go and look at Tarkowski here, have I spelled Tarkowski wrong? How do you pronounce Tarkov? How do you spell him? Where is it? Tarkov. Here we go. Tarkowski. He does 6.55 clearances and 3.23 in terms of tackles interceptions. So he's already at 9. Effectively at 9. Add to that the 1.75 in blocks. Tarkowski is generally hitting those 2 points almost every game. I don't think will be fit for the start of the season. Okay, so then he's not an option. But from the looks of it, he generally hits those numbers all season. Hoyson last season would have been insane. Look at those numbers. He would have been insane as an option if these points are there. Can you call out the players and teams? Yes, I will. So Tarkowski we mentioned. Oh, okay. You want me to call out from this? So here Milenkovic from Forest, Murillo from Forest, Van Dijk from Liverpool, Guardiola from Manchester City, Nathan Collins was Brentford, if I'm not mistaken. Munoz, Crystal Palace, Trent no longer in the game from Liverpool, Tarkowski, Everton, Lacroix from Crystal Palace, Huysen from Bournemouth. So, I mean, from the looks of it, teams that won't have the ball too much are the benefactors. I wonder what Bruno Fernandes. He has 3.28 plus 1.04. No, even Bruno won't do enough to get 12. So, attacking players in midfielders and forwards, you can just count them out. The chances of getting this is very low. Even Declan Rice, I was just looking at right here. Declan Rice, 2.48 plus 1.62. We're looking at 3, 4, and 0.865. No, not enough. Promoted centre backs could be good. Penderek would have a good last season. Yeah, promoted centre backs. Yep, mid-table that give big teams hard games. Yep. That's probably the way to approach it for these defensive contributions. So hopefully that helps people in terms of trying to figure out and understand. Hopefully I've done a decent job in trying to find some players that could become options for this. I do like Casemiro because of this data. 5 plus 3, which is about what? He's looking at already 9 from just tackles, interceptions, and clearances. And then he adds the blocks as well. Casemiro is someone who could one game a season, Casemiro as well, like with no European commitments. If he plays a lot of games, he tends to find a few attacking returns as well. Would be very interesting. But again, it's a player that you would. These midfielders are players like I think that was mentioned earlier in the comments was someone you would want as your 5th choice midfielder or 4th choice midfielder. You would still have your main attacking midfielders in your top 3 picks. Where does it put him? Like he's like Tielemans. He 3.1 plus 1.4. Nah, Tielemans doesn't do enough. Tielemans is more of like a ball progressive player, right? At the moment, not here. However, this doesn't include recoveries. Does this include recoveries? Because I haven't been looking at recoveries for midfielders. This does not have recoveries. So I don't know how most. If I was to put this in recoveries, I wonder who has the highest. Midfield. So midfielders for recoveries: Wharton, Ryan Christie, Elliot Anderson. Oh, this is why Bruno Fernandes is high. So Bruno Fernandes has a lot of recoveries per 90. Look at that, 6.2. So I wasn't counting recoveries for the midfielders. I forgot about that because FPRF doesn't have recoveries here. But if you look at this, Bruno has 6.28 recoveries per 90. Casemiro 6.18. Nogard 6. Caicedo 6.03 recoveries per 90. Tonali. And then after that, this is too low. Anything below this is too low. Because you need a lot more of this thing. Casemiro would be a great, yeah, if it's like 5 million, yeah, potentially. So Bruno Fernandes, he basically needs 6 from the rest. So if he has like 6.28 recoveries per 90, then from the rest, he basically needs like 6 basically. So he has 3 here, 4, and then a block 5. Bruno could potentially be hitting 2 points as well, potentially. What website is this? This is StatMuse. StatMuse. I'll put this. I think they're using AI or whatever to, like, in my search bar, they're kind of like understanding my query and giving data based off that. So this is not too bad for midfielders. If I was to put forwards, can I do defensive contributions? I don't know if that will appear. No, that it doesn't understand. For forwards, doesn't forwards doesn't. Well, FPL will categorize the forwards slightly differently to compare how these guys are categorizing. So you might have to consider that as well. But like Amad Diallo, 5.2 recoveries. Matthias Cunha, 4.29. Semenyo, 4.37. Kulusevski, 4.48. Leon Bay, 4.64. Ryan Mbuemo, 4.11. Jared Bowen, 3.9 recoveries. Not as high. The forwards don't expect too much. Midfielders, there's a chance. From the looks of it. So yeah, not too bad, I would say. Bentancur, 6.53. Elliot Anderson is another. And Baleba, Carlos Baleba is also another promising option from here. Cool. So that's all we have for now in these points. Hopefully, this was a helpful session in terms of understanding. I think we will use this going forward. I will see. I don't know. I don't know if Fantasy Football Scout members area would have like this data put into a better table that I could showcase for you guys going forward during the season. But we will have a look at all of this stuff. But yeah, I think when building a draft, when the prices come out, we might have a look at this again to see which players could benefit. For kids, we need 4 tackles, 4 recoveries, 4 of what the others. The best average. So you basically need midfielders is like recoveries, clearances, interceptions, tackles, blocks. So like Casemiro and Bruno, for example, they do about 6 recoveries, which means they need 6 from the rest. But that's like last season, Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes, they were 6 because United was so bad. So you treat United as a bottom table team that didn't have the ball much and had to win the ball quite often. Hence the high numbers. If they improve this season, then those numbers should reduce. So we need to look at it in those situations as well. All right. I don't think we've got any other FPL news, and nothing has broken. Like in terms of them telling us that we can now change captains mid game week or something like that. There is nothing like that has been added yet. So I think we'll end it for today. It's been a very data heavy stream. Hopefully for those of you who are watching this back, it helps. And I think we'll definitely have a live stream next week. Depending on when the game goes live. We'll definitely have one on Wednesday. If the game goes live on either a Monday or a Tuesday, we'll have a stream then as well. Look into it more, make a draft team bet on the new points. It would help with picks, not the players. It's a position where the points are gotten. Yep. So we'll have a look and see. I'll have a look a bit more further. But hopefully this helps. I will see if I can find another site that will give me this data in a bit more of a better way for us to kind of picture it. Yeah. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Shout out to Andy, Freddy, Roku, Home, Tom, Nick, Who else? Who else? Who else? MFZ. Shepard. Manish. And everyone else. Freddy as well. I mentioned. I think. Yep. And everyone else has been watching. If you want to be added to the group chat, please reply to that tweet or just message me on X if you want to be added to the group chat. Man United versus Leeds finally starting in 30 minutes. Yes, indeed. I'll probably try and watch it on the side and have a look and see how we go. Scout some Leeds players as well at the same time. So if you want to be added again, like I said, to the X group chat, just reply to the message. I will add you guys on there. I've shared the link for the tweet in the chat as well. If you're on X and you want to be added there, let me know. On Instagram, I don't have a broadcast channel because we don't have enough followers on Instagram, so can't do anything there for the moment at least. It's the last sub that could save you 4.5 mid that does all this. Jake's here. Top premium in. Yeah, so we'll see. Like, it depends on what prices these players come in at as well. All right, we'll end it there. Thank you all for watching. I want to be added. We'll sort that out. Log into eFootball, MSN, play AI games. Yes, I need to do that as well. Need to get my penalties for today. But thank you all for watching. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you all either Monday or Tuesday if the game comes live on that day. Otherwise, we're definitely live streaming on Wednesday as well. So until then, have a good one. Thank you all for watching. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button as well. Let me play the video as well. Yep, there we go. And I'll see you all next week. Have a good day.